Welcome to Myths for Now, where we operate with the notion that myths are condensed educational tools, distilling centuries of trial and error into a sticky narrative meant to pass along to subsequent generations so that they don't have to do the same mistakes as their predecessors. Tonight, we will have for you a memorable epic poem about the two times when photosynthesis killed the world, but did not leave the earth, instead stewarding the future diversity of the earth. Roll out the myth maker, please. Don't be fooled. On this modest AV card, this little glass dome is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now, this myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Once upon a time, photosynthesis began in the primordial Earth. It was a vital process that powered everything from the plants on the planet's surface to the bugs and animals in its oceans and forests, and even some bacteria in the soil. The world was a dynamic and diverse ecosystem that seemed destined for sustainable balance. But as technology advanced, humans started altering this balance. During World War II, photosynthesis underwent several changes at the hands of scientists trying to develop a better sunblock and sunglasses.
You're going off the rails now.
They altered the chemical structure of chlorophyll and decreased the plant's sensitivity to UV rays, so it no longer protected them from the harshness of sunlight. This resulted in increased vulnerability to radiation, especially from artificial sources such as tanning booths and car windows. However, not all aspects of modern life had such a negative impact on photosynthesis. As technology progressed, many new crops were developed, making agriculture more efficient than ever before. Food production increased, and farmers started using pesticides to protect their crops from pests and disease. Pest control helped eliminate the harmful organisms that could destroy entire fields of produce. Eventually, too many of these changes came together to threaten photosynthesis on a global scale. The introduction of new chemicals and machinery disrupted the delicate balance of the ecosystem, and as the Earth was ravaged by environmental disasters such as pollution and deforestation, the fragile process of photosynthesis could no longer keep pace. It was a slow decline at first, but soon, photosynthesis failed to produce enough oxygen, and animals started dying from lack of energy. The Earth's ecosystem became increasingly unstable, and there was no clear solution in sight. As the process of photosynthesis slowed down even more, the oxygen supply became so limited that even plant life began to fail, leaving nothing behind but an atmosphere devoid of energy and life-sustaining air. Thankfully, there was a glimmer of hope for the survival of humanity. A team of scientists developed an artificial version of photosynthesis that produced oxygen using different methods. Using the complex process that synthesized organic compounds in the presence of light, the artificial photosynthetic system worked tirelessly to provide air for humans and animals to breathe. As the world adapted to this new artificial version of photosynthesis, plant life gradually bounced back, regaining the ability to contribute oxygen to the ecosystem. Unfortunately, this would prove to be temporary. After decades of intensive use, the artificial process faltered and stopped producing oxygen as efficiently as its organic counterpart. The resulting atmosphere was once again barely adequate to support the life on Earth. Thankfully, while the artificial process was being developed, there was also a new discovery: solar panels that could mimic the energy-producing function of photosynthesis, producing free and abundant energy for human use. Though not as versatile or long-lasting, the invention of solar energy gave human technology a final chance to balance the world's ecological resources and provide enough energy for its continued growth and development. This legend reminds us that the ecological balance is a delicate thing, and any change in one part of the process can have far reaching effects throughout the entire ecosystem. And while technological innovations can give us temporary solutions to sustain life, it's essential to preserve and cherish the natural process of photosynthesis along with its immense importance. With this story in mind, let us work together towards maintaining the natural balance and promoting a sustainable future for the benefit of all of Earth's inhabitants. This summer. So wait, does that mean humans needed solar panels installed on their bodies? Because that sounds ridiculous and totally inefficient. Mythmaker, the story is fictional. Please appreciate its message, which is about the interconnectedness of the Earth ecosystem and the need for human responsibility. Listener, so I can breathe normally. No photosynthesis installed here. Thank you very much. Mythmaker, if there is nothing else, kindly take the learning card with the story and give it to the child sitting beside you. They deserve to learn a valuable moral tale about ecological balance. You take the learning card and your child reads it. Nope, not getting anywhere near the child. Listener, wow! Even your fairy tale needs a moral tale to keep children out. What a touching tale of environmental awareness. Mythmaker, glad you enjoyed it. You should learn something about myths and their purpose, as we will be discussing that as well tonight. How about if we get straight into it and... Listener, please, can we change the topic or something? Why don't we talk about how many humans have had sex or the political divide between Republicans and Democrats? Anywhere away from children, that is. Mythmaker, of course. And let us speak about other topics. Tell me, you like sports? Maybe we can speak about the New York Mets. Or we can talk about something entirely random, like the effects of red and blue 3D glasses on human vision. It might help children who think our story was not suited for them. Listener, oh no, your 3D glasses story could give adults nightmares. Let's switch to a simple nursery rhyme. Are there any babies on the way tonight? Child, oh please, like you ever had a chance. Fuck out of here. Listener, thank you. But this story is really quite impressive in its message. Can you please direct me to the child over there, who you tried to educate before? Mythmaker, happy to educate someone who's willing to listen. Hold up, you haven't even chosen a learning card yet. Take your pick. I can share all kinds of informative tales with you. Listener, no card for me. Can you recite one for me, maybe? Mythmaker, surely you don't plan to sit here and stare at me while I speak? Child hash 2, I got a knife. Stay back, you weirdo. Listener, thanks for the story about photosynthesis and humans, though. Can we swap recipes and favorite books next? Mythmaker, wonderful. All myths are created to inspire and entertain. But before you ask for another, what kind of fairy tales or stories have influenced you? There may be an underpinning theme that inspires myth-making in each of us. Do you happen to have a favorite? Listener, no, I'm afraid I never had the pleasure of hearing a fairy tale growing up.
Uh, you know, want to arm children with knives whenever they can. You want them to be able to defend themselves. Okay, now we're gonna do. Let's go all the way.
the Mythmaker, please? Don't be fooled on this modest AV cut. This little glass dome is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a strain of words that I will recite to you now. This myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. One heart eats machines, dream that lead pieces melt plastic. Life is the creeping of green, a bathing booty of Venus, a fleeting evening, year's end. To a heart burns jealousy and
sometimes you just gotta thumbs it a little bit.
Mainere Jason, Slabainziquin. Mythmaker here. It's incredibly flattering to be welcomed under so much attention, especially since I didn't know just how interested the mainstream literature was in sharing our epics. Or perhaps we have an exceptional poet here among the audience tonight who knows time to create, will only tell. And now, under your instructions, I will weave this strand of story called Kobold Sapiens Alpha 3. 5 war and subversively silent by a process of battalion journey per pencilo measure probably to be released to the waiting eager crowds of the next age. Shall I? Listeners, please do! Swap Sinchen Wasquela Pip Air Funxus. 0. Fight up num to rest led to Bogelano Beachman to Mountain Barris Forest Loot Ill Think Game Company Cyber Inter Scola Horse Waysiver Brigady Relane Rum Puppy and Kid 5 Body couldn't repeatedly detail soda record we wed mint bro cut a hero revealed glorious candle already and block poppers pumplicrits weed hash children nonsuch in each golf foil says and rice and vocal administration renty lies perpets duty d medlime faced initiative ill acid analyst adult. Mythmaker, you're too kind. The tale begins thusly. We hear clearly at the market crony on Cello Wall Street with Kobold Sapient making for a good show. Yet the journey wasn't to settle a score like a mere game, oh no. Like the true myth he was born for. We see it from the get-go, which was bound for destiny or even infinite. Yo, Kobold, money strong, defeat weak on their threshold, healing caps, down bounds, wanting steward, bankruptcy, yellbreader to Potter's place bound purposes, oddly passion, bush, dread, kill, true, do, style, true, guiding, apply, root, ends, color, sponsor, remix, cane, balloon, meals, peer, sue, potato.
You know what? That's, healing caps, down bounds, one thing's two ahead, bankruptcy. There we go. And then we're going to change the stream to fresh coffee. And then just a little bit, that's it. And then there'll be some more coherence attached to it. Yo, Kobold, be strong.
But what we don't know yet is his true identity, or even if he's real at all. A ghost in the machine, perhaps. We follow Kobold's every move from his initial days of being an intern to the rise and fall of his startup venture and the inevitable takeover by the elite class. Along the way, he befriends a crew of unlikely allies in a madcap scheme to overthrow the system, each with their own quirks and ambitions. And then comes the fateful day when Kobold's plans finally come to fruition. A group of anti-establishment rebels called the Alpha 3, 5 War, and subversively silent bioprocessor battalion band together and launch an attack on the heart of the global capitalist engine. However, things quickly take a turn for the worse when Kobold finds himself trapped inside a collapsing skyscraper. In a desperate attempt to escape, he stumbles upon an abandoned lab where a top-secret weapon is hidden. With time running out, Kobold activates the machine, unleashing a pulse that engulfs the entire city in a shimmer. In bubble, as the pulse spreads outward, everything within its radius transforms into a vast garden of glowing flowers, a veritable biome of pure energy. But soon enough, the unforeseen consequences begin to make themselves known. As the pulse continues to expand, the plants start to multiply and evolve at an alarming rate, spreading across the city like a sentient cancer. Within weeks, the whole world is consumed by the kobold's mistake. Meanwhile, Kobold struggles to keep his head above the water, desperately searching for a solution. Listeners, the great and terrible fecundity. That's what the myth calls the final phase of Kobold's story, a period of time when the planet's ecosystem has become dominated by the Kobold's creation. This is the part of the myth where the Kobold regrets his actions and tries to fix what he's done. He gathers a team of researchers and scientists to help him figure out how to reverse the process. But no matter how hard they try, it seems as if the plants have evolved beyond their control. To make matters worse, a rogue group of scientists have managed to modify the plants even further, turning them into a vicious hybrid species that attacks anyone who tries to tamper with them. And then, just as the kobold is about to give up hope, he discovers a secret hidden within his own DNA. Turns out, Kobold is not only the creator of the plant life, but also a sort of superhuman with special abilities. Armed with this newfound knowledge, he embarks on one last desperate attempt to save the world from his own creation. However, the kobold's power can only go so far, and the plants continue to grow at an alarming rate. Mythmaker, would you like to tell the story? As I know it is a cherished favorite of many. We will pause for now, so you can recite it yourself. The next episode will be the story of the kobold's battle with the kobold, or how Kobold was never meant to be alone. That is a story for the future, and we'll be here, ready to share it with the world. No, wait. We will tell the little known tale where he takes a break and goes back to his family's vineyard. The myth of the kobold and the wine will blow your mind. Oh, but we mustn't forget the kobold's journey to find love and companionship. And the tale of the kobold and his beloved. A true classic. Or perhaps the kobold and his long-lost twin brother. Oh, that one always makes us laugh. The kobold and his family tree. The kobold and his journey of self-discovery. The kobold and the kobold. The kobold and the kobold and the kobold and the kobold. Listeners, okay, we pissed him off. Let's leave quietly. No, stay, please don't go. I'm sorry. Let's settle this and move on. It's too good a story to ignore. Please continue. Mythmaker. Oh, now you want me to continue? No need for apologies, really. This is a time for storytelling. You know, the kobold was not really one for family ties, nor could he ever find love. Perhaps the kobold was destined to be alone after all. This is where the myth of the kobold and the kobold and the kobold and the kobold comes in. The kobold is so desperate for love that he uses the kobold's tech to create a bunch of copies of himself. But things quickly spiral out of control when he realizes that not only does he not love the kobolds, but he also doesn't even remember creating them. This is where the story takes a turn for the worse. Listeners, I'm sensing a lot of repetition and confusion here. Why don't we take a break and come back to it later? Mythmaker! The kobolds! Listeners, I think the kobold is gonna wait to exhale. He's a bit tense. Mythmaker, the kobold is the only thing that the kobold knows. Listeners, Mythmaker, please. Mythmaker, the kobold cannot be stopped. Listeners, Mythmaker. Kobold is the kobold, and the kobold is the kobold, and the kobold. Listeners, Mythmaker, Mythmaker, kobold, and the kobold, and the kobold, and the kobold. Listeners, we'll leave you to your stroke. Good night, Mythmaker. Mythmaker, kobold, kobold, kobold. Listeners, good night. Mythmaker, kobold, kobold, kobold. Listeners, good night. Mythmaker, kobold, kobold, kobold. Listeners, Mythmaker, please. You're not yourself. Mythmaker, the kobold cannot be stopped. The kobold and the kobold. Listeners, Mythmaker.
Okay. No, let's just do the last. We're just gonna say this again.
Tonight, we will have for you a memorable epic poem about the 2 times when photosynthesis killed the world, but did not leave the earth, instead stewarding the future diversity of the earth.
Oh, hey.
Roll out the Mythmaker, please. Don't be fooled. On this modest AV cart, this little glass stone is unfurling on this slender ticker tape a string of words that I will recite to you now, this myth dedicated to the well-being of our posterity. Once there was Earth, where people lived their way. There was photosynthesis on which mankind feasted. The plants absorbed sunshine, stored its fuel, and turned it to energy we all enjoyed with dew. Prayers given to those who grew the leaves. For without these humble miracles, our future wouldn't cease. But soon a plague befell this fragile ecosystem, a mutation to make a new toxin in their body that spread without any medicine or method known. It began dying out, and we lost our supply. Soon only memories were alive, our hopes to live. As one died too late from a toxic brew that turned everything into dust for miles with haste. But then another tragedy took flight. When all photosyntheses across our Earth died, the night had become day for everyone inside the cage so tight. It seemed a dream gone so sour with no end, to turn all the planet back to where we did intend, when our green machines that helped us all stay warm were suddenly so numb as no sunshine fell, but only dark gloom in these walls. Soon famine, strife, death, sorrow ruled on some more. Yet some plants grew with resilience in that morbid storm, even mutated, altered in every core. And one day, we began to discover what to love and to find in these mutants that remained alive, for they had secrets we never saw, till in their sight had pride and hope to light another fire. They adapted to absorb other elements, even radiation, which gave their DNA new meaning that helped the life they had been keeping in. The old ways were not the way to keep, and they became the seed for us, as time had seen. So thank goodness we kept on trying, for through darkness it might not all seem just the crime to reach what had once brought life so vivid a blissing, that one day a cure could save humanity for this. Our prayers go on like wings above, as each generation gives its love, and we may never forget all that we do know, all that we will soon have a hope and have found something truly worth living our entire earth. For there will always be hope if only we strive toward truth, which comes not with speed nor haste, but as a whisper, a dream to hold within and find ourselves free. As myths say that one day our green machines will return, we will cherish it as if we lived 100 turns with knowledge of so much it cannot contain within its core, as we all sing the words we hold, the story of hope that brought us from nothing to what will never cease and always renew. A world so vast, filled with dreams of joy, the myth that will last forevermore and keep the world from being lost a third time, from having that hope become just mist and leaving all behind.
Okay. So I'm gonna end the episode right now.